An angry Netflix employee or employees take to Twitter after getting laid off from streaming giant. So, angry Netflix employees took to Twitter Thursday after learning they had been laid off at the streaming giant, home to his shows like Inventing Anna, Squid Game, and Bridgerton. By the way, Mr. Beast's Squid Game was absolutely amazing and got more views than Squid Game itself. So, although the exact number of layoffs could not be immediately learned, many of the employees were writers or editors working for Netflix's Tudum division, which was launched in December. Have no clue what the hell is a Tudum. Well, I just was laid off from a significant contract originally intended through August, so I'm looking for stable work and rent. I need rent, wrote one employee. Uh-oh, looks like I have to do this tweet again. Is anyone hiring? Netflix just laid off my team, my job included. It was an incredible few months, and I'm grateful for it, but I'm stoked about whatever's next. Email is in bio. Another tweeted. The layoffs came from the Tudum division and included a mix of staff and contractors, according to a source with knowledge. One insider told the Post that more layoffs could be on the way and that non core projects like Q, whatever that is, a magazine like publication about Netflix projects, could be next on the chopping block. Wait, Netflix had a magazine like publication? Well, that's interesting. A company spokeswoman declined to comment on the situation but added our fan website Tudum is an important priority for the company. Just got laid off from Netflix Tudum, effective today. Email with Email me with opportunities at reynolsultan@gmail.com so I can pay my rent and help my parents survive. A bunch of my incredible colleagues got laid off too. You'd be incredibly lucky to work with any of them. One thing's for sure that I do like is to see someone where they're very supportive of their colleagues, right? I like this statement, like these two sentences. I think that's like a pretty cool thing to see, right? A bunch of my incredible colleagues got laid off too. You'd be incredibly lucky to work with any of them. Like that's like a good like working relationship with other other workers, I should say. Tudum, which is a nod to the sound that accompanies the Netflix logo when subscribers open the streaming site, was a division that focused on news and stories related to the service's most popular shows and movies. Roughly 10 to 15 employees put out virtual help wanted signs on Twitter after getting their pink slips. Just got laid off from Netflix and Tudum effective today. Let's see, Maria Christina Sherman. Hire Alex. Hire Josh. The drumbeat of departures come after Netflix posted its first subscriber loss since 2011. Last week, Netflix said in the first quarter it lost 200,000 subscribers and that it expects to lose 2 million more in the second quarter. In order to stem the bleeding, Netflix co-CEOs Reed Hastings and Ted Sarandos said the company would likely crack down on password sharing, which is beyond a very stupid thing to do. Our relatively high household penetration, when including the large number of households sharing accounts, combined with competition, is creating revenue growth headwinds, the men said in their letter to Netflix shareholders. See, like another way to really think about it, right? You don't see an issue with Disney Plus. You don't see an issue with Amazon Prime. You don't see an issue with HBO, whatever that is, or Hulu, whatever that is, right? Or even another example that subscriptions work and that people could probably just share their passwords as well. We talked about a 19-year-old girl that did OnlyFans. In her first year of doing OnlyFans, a subscription paid like adult content service made $50 million, and she provided proof that she made $50 million. And yet you're telling everyone, like, oh, yes, let's blame the potential customers that, yeah, it's their fault. What? Does that make any sense? It means that you are not providing something that your customers actually want. It's that simple, right? So, following the top earnings report, The Hollywood Reporter released a blistering expose on the power clash inside the Los Gatos, California based company, which included unnamed Hollywood heavy hitters weighing in on the prolificate spending at the company and its lack of quality control when it comes to pumping out content. So, what I've heard and read of like other stories about like how Netflix ends up getting content, they basically have like a blank check. And it's like, oh yeah, if they find something, they're just going to pay disgusting amounts of money for it, right? Like, oh, if you somehow manage to like make some sort of documentary about whatever topic, and someone just happens to like the concept of it or like it, they're like, oh yeah, here's 5 million. Oh yeah, here's 2 million. Oh yeah, here's a million. Oh yeah, here's 20 million. Like it's just like a blank check for whatever kind of nonsense. So one creative who worked with Netflix said of the streamer's content strategy, I wonder if, say, a bonobo throwing S at a whiteboard full of titles as a method of deciding what projects to make would have more or less success than all of these other deciders who think they know what people want or don't want. The funny thing is, right, if they even gave someone like, for example, a Mr. Beast, a Jimmy Donaldson, $100 million, $500 million, he could create disturbing amounts of viral content for Netflix, like exclusively for Netflix. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what he could potentially do for that. But here's the thing, right? If they were to ever offer a like some sort of like deal with Netflix, oh I mean with Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast would definitely need like some sort of a percentage of the company because I have no clue what on earth are they going to do. I mean, they just have so much stuff on their platform. It's kind of like one of those situations where they became kind of like what cable used to be, where potentially you're spending more than like an hour or 2 hours just trying to find something to watch, right? Instead of just clicking something to watch. Like it's absolutely crazy when you really think about it. Let's see. Comments. Okay, yeah, some comments. It's the same old story, trying to please the woke non-subscribers and failing to pay attention to the taste of those actually paying for a subscription. Most wokies use someone who works password anyway. It's a private company, they can do what they want. Remember that. Sorry, kiddies, that one worked against you this time. It's my private money, and I'm not giving it to them. And here's the thing, right? Like, if you don't like how Netflix is doing this stuff, you do not have to subscribe to them. That's great, and you deserve it. Go get BOM to give you a job, get Soros to fund you. You're the same crowd who wanted 250,000 police officers to lose their jobs and get prosecuted because a criminal dies when he was in the custody of one cop. You're the same people who destroyed other people's lives, crucified them before a fair trial. Good. Okay. Please tell me they kept Prince Harry and Meghan for their $100 million contract, which has proved so successful. Get the woke crowd you have been catering to fund you. Go woke, go broke. That's it. Pendulum reached its apex. You didn't build that. When you make a product people want and will pay for, they will. Please include how woke you are on your resume and make sure to include all your pronouns. This information is very critical so companies that are trying to stay in business know what they are getting into. And someone put learn to code. Dear Lord. Okay. Feel free to give your thoughts on this, right? I find this very interesting. I think it's incredibly stupid for Netflix and their CEOs to blame their customers. Like, hey, don't blame your customers. How about you actually take some responsibility and be like, oh yeah, we are just not promoting product that is good enough for it. Like, for example, right? If you stumble upon this, you might have seen the show called Ridiculousness with a very certain former pro skateboarder called Rob Dyrdek, who also was on a TV show called Robin Big. That individual, Rob Dyrdek, quite literally is pretty much all the content on MTV, right? Because his show is very evergreen. His show is basically something like you can have it playing at any time of the day, of the month, of the year, while you're pooping, cooking, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. You don't even necessarily even have to be inside the same room of the TV that is actually playing the episode. You could still find some sort of enjoyment because it's something that basically absorbs time, right? It absorbs your time. You could just click it and play it, right? Regardless of what you are doing, right? You could be trying to go to sleep and still technically have a show like Ridiculousness end up playing, right? And that's something to really think about, right? Netflix needs content kind of like that, where you can literally just click it, click any episode, have it just autoplay, and it will just play forever and ever and ever and ever, and you're still going to just be like coming in and out and like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. Oh yeah, that's pretty crazy. Oh yeah, whoa, they jumped over that. Oh, they crashed into a wall. They jumped off a house. Whatever, right? It's like they really need content that is purely evergreen, that absorbs massive amount of time forever, right? They almost need like a mindless TV content, right? So, just my thoughts on it. Just never blame your customers. Like, really. If you want to learn how to get a debt and master your money, go to 40inbox.com.